Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I am at a different location today, and that's okay. I am at work and didn't want to wait any longer to film my anticipated reads for the fourth quarter. I am going to be talking today about books that are coming out in October, November, and December, the last quarter of the year. This is my second full year of paying attention even to upcoming releases. I have a list today of 12 books that are coming out towards the end of the year that I'm excited for. And all of these I have requested, if able to, if they're on NetGalley, I've requested them. I've been approved for a ton of them. One of them I was not approved for. Two of them I haven't heard yet. And one is not on there. So I hopefully will be able to read a bunch of these as NetGalley arcs and let you know about them soon. Let's just jump right in though, because I'm really excited about these. So the first 5 are from October, and then I have 4 in November and only 3 in December. It was hard to find those 3 in December as well. I think towards the end of the year, Christmas is happening, like holidays. There just isn't a push for a ton of new books during that time, but October had a ton and I had to limit myself. But we will get started. I have 2 that come out right away in October on the 4th. And the first one is a historical. It's called The Whalebone Theater, and you will see me constantly looking to my side because that's where my computer is set up, where I have listed all of my books that I'm talking about today. The Whalebone Theater is by Joanna Quinn. In this story, we follow 2 kids, Christabel and Digby. At the beginning, they're a little younger, and I think we go through 2 decades of their life. And when they're young, they live in England, and one day a whale skeleton washes ashore. And there's something about like all the whales belong to the king or something along those lines. But they find this whale, and instead of reporting it, I think like they're supposed to, with the help of maybe their nanny or somebody from the house, they create a theater inside the whalebone, and they put on little plays, and it's a little escape for them inside this whalebone skeleton. And then as they get older, this play acting and theater play comes to help them because both Digby and Christabel become spies for England in Nazi-occupied France. So then we do have this World War II tie-in where both of them become spies and go undercover in France. They have different missions. They're not working together, but that's where their life brings both of them. So it's kind of interesting. I'm very intrigued by this. I love a World War II. I love this whole idea of seeing them when they're kids building a playhouse inside the whalebone. Like, just kind of interesting take on things. I don't know. Sounds a little different, but I'm excited for that one. Then we have a middle grade that also comes out on October 4th, A Rovers Story. This is by Jasmine Warga, whom I have loved. She wrote The Shape of Thunder. She wrote A Place Called Home. I forget the name of the other one that I loved by her, but I loved both of those books. And she wrote another one, which is totally different, a little more sci-fi, a lot more sci-fi. When I first was looking this one up, the first description that I found was One and Only Ivan Meets Wild Robot, which I love both of those stories. So in this one, we follow a Mars rover who kind of acquires some human-like feelings and emotions during his construction, but he is sent to Mars and has to face a ton of trials and tests while he is there. And the whole world is kind of following his success and failures and following this whole mission. I don't really know too much more than that, but I'm excited for Jasmine Warga. Anything that she writes, I'm going to be down for. So I'm excited for that. Obviously, I'm excited for all of these, which is why they're on my list. The third one I have is also by an author that I've read multiple books from, and that's Jamie Jo Wright. She has a book coming out on October 11th, and it's called The Premonition at Wither's Farm. It's going to be suspenseful, according to the rest of the books I've read by her. It will have a dual timeline, and in this one, the central location is this old farmhouse, and we follow in the past, in the original timeline, we follow Perliette, who is a like natural healer. She's got giftings and is what we would today probably call like a homeopathic doctor. Like she's able to help people with herbs and potions, if you will. And the local doctor calls her a quack and kind of turns people against her. But then in the modern day timeline, we follow Molly and her husband. Molly is in a state of depression. She has had multiple miscarriages and is really struggling, but also kind of seeking out her family tree, really focusing on her family tree. So I'm assuming that's how these two storylines will be connected. Her husband just bought this old farmhouse and they're trying to fix it up. And then there are some strange shadows and strange noises that they hear. So there's going to be kind of a creepy factor in the present day timeline as well. And the cover of it just looks like a fall read. Like it looks so good. So hopefully I will get to that one right away. Then we have one that is a UK release. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a hold of this one. This is the one that it was just not on NetGalley, I think, or I wasn't approved. I don't remember. But this is The House of Lost Wives by Rebecca Hardy. And this one comes out on October 13th. Yeah, it's a UK release. I'm like, why does it come out on the 13th? Usually it's Tuesdays here in the States. So the 13th would be a Thursday. That means it's UK. It's a historical mystery and I'm still very interested. So we'll see if I can get my hands on it or not. It's a Regency mystery. Lizzie is sent to become the fifth wife of Lord Bluntford. He's an older man. 1 year ago, her sister was sent there and she died. And her sister was the fourth of his wives who died. So Lizzie is determined to figure out what happened to her sister and these other three women. Lizzie has some kind of special ability or gift that allows her to hear the stories of these other women, and she's fighting that the same fate doesn't happen to her as well. So there's this creepy element, this kind of mysterious element, like why are these women dying? But it's set in a Regency era, which I think I'm going to really like. So that one comes out in the UK on October 13th. I might have to wait a while to get my hands on that one, but I will keep my eyes open for sure. Then we have historical fiction that I've been really looking forward to, and I have been approved on NetGalley for When We Had Wings by Susan Meissner, Ariel Lahan, and Christina McMorris. When We Had Wings comes out on October 18th, and we follow a trio of nurses during World War II in the South Pacific. They all meet each other at an Army Navy club in the Philippines. I believe one of them is a Filipino woman. All three are kind of seeking to escape their past, but they forge this friendship in the midst of the war. I love that it takes place in the Philippines. It's a little different location for a World War II historical than I've read before. And I love that it's three women. That's kind of a trope in historical World War II books written by women that often follow three women in the story. So I'm totally down for that. It will be interesting to see, like, I don't know if I can find an interview or something, like, did Meissner, Lahan, and McMorris, did they each write from one of the three perspectives, or how did they write this jointly? I don't know. I have loved books by all three of those authors, and so I'm very curious to see what this community project, how it will read with the three of them writing together. I don't know. I have high hopes. Then moving into November, on November 1st, I have a book that I'm super excited for called Godmersham Park by Jill Hornby. I did look up, it's Jill, not Gil. She wrote Miss Austen, and this is also going to be an Austen-related novel. In it, we follow Anne, who is 31 years old. She's single, and which back in the day was really old to still be single. Her mom passes away, and she's kind of left with nowhere to go because she and her mother live together. And so she gets a job as a governess for a family in Kent who happen to be related to the Austens, like the Austens. So she becomes the governess of 12-year-old little Fanny Austen, and they get along really well. And then throughout the course of time, we meet the rest of the Austen family as well. I believe that at one point she's going to write plays together with Jane, and there may or may not be a love story between Anne and Henry Austen. But also just this struggle, the governess of a family is higher than the downstairs, like in the class system, I guess, like is higher than the downstairs crew, the cooks and the housemaids and all of that, but lower status than the family who live there. But they're in this in between, and it's a juggling act that's really difficult to balance. And she always feels like she's on her toes and trying to figure things out. And she doesn't really have experience in this position before either. So I don't know. It just sounds like there's going to be a lot of factors in this book that are things that I'm going to really love. Also on November 1st is a book called We Are the Light by Matthew Quick. This is going to be a contemporary. I just want to read this quote from the Goodreads summary because this sold me on the story 100%. So here goes. An unforgettable novel about the quicksand of grief and the daily miracle of love. I mean, right there alone tells me it's a book that I'm at least interested in learning more about. It says, the humorous, soul-bearing story of Lucas Goodgame offers an antidote to toxic masculinity and celebrates the healing power of art. In this tale that will stay with you long after the final page is turned, Quick reminds us that that guardian angels are all around us, sometimes in the forms we least expect. I feel like this just sounds like it's going to be heartwarming and like a beautiful story of humanity. I think there's a tragedy, maybe like a tornado or some kind of something happens in this small town where Lucas lives, our main character, and he is seen as a hero by the rest of the town because of how he behaved during this event. So it makes me think of like a big flood or a storm of some sort, and he helps other people. He doesn't see himself as a hero, and I think he lost some during that storm as well. And then at some point, an 18-year-old kid who is kind of like struggling with his family and maybe with others in the town, Lucas kind of finds him in his backyard and starts connecting with this kid and forming a bond with him, and it changes Lucas and it changes this kid and it changes the town. I don't know, it just sounds like a really beautiful story of humanity. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Then we have Gleanings, which is a YA. Comes out on November 8th. It's by Neil Shusterman, and it is a collection of short stories from the Ark of the Scythe trilogy. So I think some of the stories will go a little deeper into things that we learned about from the books, and then some stories will be totally new additions. And I really enjoyed the Ark of the Scythe, which was Scythe, Thunderhead, and the Toll. And I really enjoyed that series a couple years ago. And so when I saw that there was a group of short stories coming out, I thought it would be fun to read that as well. Totally different than other books that I've read or that I even have on this list, but I think it's the only YA that's on here. But I'm excited for it. It definitely sounds like something I want to read. So it's on my list. Another middle grade comes out next on November 15th, and it is the sequel to a book I've already read. So this is The Astonishing Chronicles of Oscar from Elsewhere by Jacqueline Moriarty. It is the sequel to The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Meadowstone. Gotta love the long titles with big words. So in this one, we follow Oscar. He has 5 days, he has a week to find the 9 keys, or the 9 parts of the key that will rescue the elf kingdom. I'm assuming Oscar is an elf. I'm not sure about that. I know though that there is a group of friends that he's going to be working with, including Bronte from the first book, but I believe there are 6 of them, 6 of these friends, and he has 5 days to find these keys. If he doesn't save the elf kingdom, there are dire consequences, of course, but it just sounds like fun. I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm looking forward to another book that's kind of in that world. Will be fun. Totally different vibes. The next one comes out in December. So we're on the last 3. Comes out in December 6th. I'm confused about this one because I think it's already come out it's The Circus Train by Amanda Parekh. And I think it originally came out in Canada. So on NetGalley, it says release date is December 6th, but on Goodreads, it says it came out in March. So I'm a little confused about this one, but I'm still so interested in it that it's on this list anyway. So I don't know. I didn't want to deep dive into finding out why those two dates were so different. But anyways, we have The Circus Train. It's a World War II traveling circus book. In it, we follow Lena. It's kind of a coming of age story for her as well. She is kind of confined to a wheelchair because of a childhood case of polio, and her dad are in this circus. It's more like a World of Wonders, I believe. So there aren't really animals. It's just people who can do kind of creative and unique things. They travel around during World War II. Lena, at one point, finds this orphan, Alexander, and kind of brings him along with their train company and or circus company. And Alexander kind of becomes an apprentice to her father. They become best friends. Alexander, however, is a Jewish orphan, and things become a little dicey and tricky when they are asked to go to Germany or travel closer in that direction where the Nazis are in power. I think they're even asked to go perform at one of the camps or something. So things are a little tricky, and yeah, I'm just really intrigued by what's going to happen. We shall see. Then we have one that I have not heard anyone else talk about. It is called The Light Parade. It's by Lily Brooks Dalton, and it comes out on December 6th as well. It is maybe dystopian, maybe speculative fiction. I'm not sure what you would call it, but in our setting is Florida, but it's a Florida where the tides have risen so much and the land is basically eroding. So a lot of people have moved away, and there's a huge storm coming in. Kirby works on the electric lines and stuff that are still there. The infrastructure, however, is failing. But Kirby and Frida live in Florida still, and they have two boys, and their boys go missing right before this huge hurricane is coming in. So Kirby, the dad, goes to look for them. And Frida is preggo. She's ready to pop. And she does deliver early in the midst of the storm. Her husband is gone looking for the boys. She has a baby. Names her Wanda after the storm. And Wanda has kind of some unique abilities. But we then follow this family, particularly Wanda, I believe. This storm kind of wiped out what was left of Florida. So now we're in this kind of post-apocalyptic, almost feeling land. Like, not very many people live there. There's no longer electricity, but there are pockets of people. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Station 11. There are still pockets of civilization. And so Wanda is going to find community in this land. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to the rest of her family, but it's told in 4 parts: power, water, light, and time. And it says, on Goodreads, it says it mirrors the rhythms of the elements and the sometimes quick, sometimes slow dissolution of the world as we know it. It's a meditation on the changes we would rather not see, the future we would rather not greet, and a call back to the beauty and violence of an untamable wilderness. I don't know. There's something about that sounds so intriguing to me. And then finally, I have the only romance on this list. It's called The Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. Also comes out on December 6th. And we follow Natalie. Natalie has a pretty charmed life. She has a new husband. They have a fixer-upper cottage that they've just purchased that's like her dream house, or potential to be her dream house. And she is about to go on tour playing piano for the musical that she wrote. And then her husband dies unexpectedly. And it totally, obviously, throws her life for a loop. And she stops playing piano. I don't know if she's going to fix up her house. I'm not sure. 2 years later, she's still really struggling, has not been able to find her footing, has not really picked up playing anymore. She goes to play at a piano that's at the train station, where she can be anonymous and kind of not really enter the world and that she used to know, but she can still anonymously go there and play. However, someone starts to leave sheet music for some of her husband's favorite songs on the piano at the train station. And she is very intrigued, like, who is this that's leaving this? She starts to feel a spark of hope again, a spark of excitement as she's kind of thrown into this mystery of who's leaving these pieces of music. And she starts to open herself up to love again. So it just sounds, I love music in books and I love music in life. So I love that aspect to it. I love books that deal with grief. I've talked about that before, but it also sounds like it's going to be a nice love story by the end as well. So that's a nice kind of way to round out this list. I've got a handful of historical, a handful of middle grade, and a couple outliers in there, a contemporary, a sci-fi, a dystopian type of book, and a romance. So that is my list of anticipated reads. I am very curious if any of these jump out to you, if they sound interesting to you, or do you have any others that are coming out in the next couple of months that you're really looking forward to? I have one more just to like throw in here. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to the Last Keeper of the Lost Cities book. I am not ready to read it right away because I'm still trying to read 8.5. Like I still haven't read the one right before it, but book 9 of Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger also comes out. And that's obviously an anticipated read for me as well. It's just not on the list because it's like obvious. Maybe. I don't know. If you have any other books that are coming out at the end of the year that you're excited for, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. I never used to be someone that paid attention to upcoming releases, but I've really had fun with it in the last couple of years. Towards the end of the year, I will go through my list from last year and this year and kind of see if I liked the ones that I've read so far, how have I done as far as reading the ones that I've been really anticipating and all that stuff. We'll talk about that in December. But for now, that's going to be it. I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at what I'm looking forward to. And I would love to chat with you down in the comments. As always, it's my favorite part about making videos. And I look forward to chatting with you in another video very soon. Bye.